The political landscape rumbling loudly tonight after the explosive leak of a draft Supreme Court opinion overturning Roe versus Wade. Chief Justice John Roberts today confirming the draft was genuine, but calling the leak a breach of trust and ordering an investigation into who did it. The decision, a sharply worded takedown of Roe v. Wade, has abortion opponents celebrating tonight, while leaving abortion rights supporters angry and worried.
The leak of the decision overturning the right to an abortion in this country and the behind-the-scenes fight that led up to it is the subject of this fantastic new investigative piece in the New York Times. Reporters Jodi Kantor and Adam Liptak explain how, quote, in overturning Roe, the court set aside more than precedent. It tested the boundaries of how cases are decided. And joining me now is Jodi Kantor, the Pulitzer Prize-winning investigative reporter who helped break this story for the New York Times. Jodi, it's a great piece, and there's a bunch of stuff in here I want to get to. I want to start with bringing people back to the timeline, which I had sort of forgotten a little bit until I read your piece today, which is basically that Mississippi wants to Mississippi passes this law banning abortion to 15 weeks. They know it's frontally unconstitutional under the court's current jurisprudence, but they want to test it anyway. And they want to send it up to the court, and they petition the court, and then Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg dies. Amy Coney Barrett replaces her. Tell us about the dynamics in what we think of as a conference in that court about whether to take up the case, knowing how adjacent it is to Justice Ginsburg's death.
So one of the things that Adam Liptak and I found was that this was a real point of sensitivity for the court. You know, it's interesting. On the one hand, in our system of lifetime appointments, the passing of justices helps refresh the law. It's part of what moves the law along. But if the law changes too quickly after a justice dies, it can look like this is actually Amy Coney Barrett wrote years ago in a law review article, it can look like this is about politics and power instead of law and reason. So there's this debate in early 2021 about whether to take up the case, not how to decide it, but whether to take it up at all. And it becomes a debate about timing. It's very clear that this new conservative supermajority has the votes to hear the case. They have the minimum of 4. In fact, initially they have 5. But there's disagreement about when to do it. Justices Alito, Gorsuch, and Thomas were very eager. They actually wanted to hear the case that term, the term before it was actually held. Whereas Justice Kavanaugh and Justice Barrett were a little reluctant. Justice Kavanaugh suggested a plan to relist it. In other words, to withhold from the public the court's decision to take the case. And actually, Justice Barrett made a really strong stand. She said to the others, if you try to take this case this term, I will change my vote from a grant, a yes, to a deny, a no. And then one of the biggest surprises of the reporting is that that is what she actually ended up doing. She opposed hearing this case.
And it's key here to just set the context here when you quote that law review article, right? The perception from the outside is the anti-Roe justices are sitting around waiting for their colleague to die and then be replaced with a new person. So even before her body is in the ground, they can get to planning their long desired goal of overturning Roe. And I'm reading into things here that you didn't report. I'm saying this is what it looks like to me, is that Justice Barrett is like, that's going to look bad for me personally. Like, if we do this right away, she is objecting to it. But the most fascinating thing is that what Kavanaugh suggests, what they do is they decide to take the case and functionally deceive the public about doing so.
So he names some reasons. He says we're going to watch the lower court cases on abortion. You know, we're going to see what happens, et cetera, et cetera. But it does have the effect of distancing, creating the appearance of distance from Justice Ginsburg's death. And I agree with you that Justice Barrett is in a fascinating position, because remember that President Trump said that he was going to appoint justices who would automatically overturn Roe. She gets appointed. She is a favorite of abortion opponents. She has, she has 7 children. That is the way she's read in the public mind. So I think actually the fact that she voted against taking the case gives us a lot to think about in terms of the court and also about her. What is the meaning of her switching her vote?
Ultimately, you only need 4 votes. They take the case, and we all know that she ends up joining the majority, which was their gambit all along, that majority, that she would, in fact, join it. But just because it's a technical thing, but it's important to me because in some ways I think the top line of this reporting is that they basically decide they're going to take it in February. But the way they communicate to the public isn't in February, we're going to take this case. Instead, they relist it, meaning we haven't decided yet. We haven't decided yet. And they keep doing that over and over again. They know they're taking it, but they are saying, well, we don't know, even though they know they took it 3 months after Ginsburg died, for 3 months after Barrett. So the public doesn't know that, but they know that, right?
I hear what you're saying, but I'm going to give you another interpretation of the facts. This is also introducing a delay that opens a window for persuasion, because what happens next is that, there's this sort of funny period when they have the votes, but this is not publicly announced. And Chief Justice Roberts and Justice Breyer, a conservative and a liberal, both very drawn to consensus, neither of them interested in pursuing Dobbs, have this window for persuasion, and they try to convince the 2 newest justices not to take the case. Whether that affected Justice Barrett's decision, we can't totally say for sure, but we know that she ends up changing her vote. So the appearance point you make is a strong one, but you also have to ask what is happening strategically during this point, because we know that Justice Alito gets a little nervous and says to Justice Kavanaugh, "Is your vote firm?"
And on that strategy, so when we get to they take the case, they hear the arguments, they're drawing up the opinion, right? That they have the 5 votes for overturning Roe. Frontally, Mississippi has changed once the case gets taken. They say, we're actually not asking you to rule on this law. We want you to go all out at Roe. They go all out at Roe in oral arguments. It's like, do the whole thing. They've got 5 votes. There is an effort you report on by Breyer, basically, and Roberts to try to pull a justice away from that, to find some consensus position that upholds Mississippi law, which would radically pare back rights but not end Roe. What does the leak do to those efforts?
So that's another thing we're able to establish in this reporting. I cannot tell you who leaked that document. Right. I can't tell you for sure what the motive is, but Adam and I can tell you the effect.
Yes.
Which is that the leak cemented these votes. Part of the reason that the votes are secret is that justices do sometimes change their mind. They want that freedom. They need that freedom. History shows us that it's happened plenty of times with a lot of consequence. And so the leak interferes with that. It's hard to say what would have happened anyway. There isn't overwhelming evidence that, a 3-justice compromise that would have saved the right to abortion, is on the cusp of becoming reality. We cannot say that. But we know that the deliberative process was at play, that there were efforts at persuasion. The Chief Justice only needed 1 vote to make his 15-week position work. And also, Justice Breyer was so interested in this that he considered joining this 15-week position, which would have been a symbolic move. And then the leak comes along and those efforts become hopeless. And so part of what we need to remember about this decision is that it really does look like somebody did something really inappropriate and intended to interfere with the process in some way.
That reporting about the effect, which also was new. I mean, we just didn't know. We still don't know what happened, but the effect is pretty profound and pretty interesting. The whole piece is fantastic. Thank you, Jodi Kantor, for doing it. Thank you for coming on tonight.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Chris.